All right. Hello, guys. What is today? Monday,
Okay.
May 13th, and we're going to get started.
Are you running the call?
I'm sorry?
Are you running the call?
I am. Apparently they're leaving this one in charge.
You're a good one to leave in charge.
That's awesome.
So yes, I'm going to get us started, and I want to actually open. Does anybody? I know we do this at the end sometimes, but I feel like sometimes I need to hear some positive. Is anybody have any wins they want to share?
I do.
Vicky has a win.
Okay. Not only am I working with the Smithsonian Institutes in Chantilly, Virginia, with the Air and Space Museum, please. They're putting in a tower garden, and they are going, well, it's already up, and they are going to be simulating growing conditions in space. I am over the moon about that.
That's really cool.
I know. I can't even get my head wrapped around it, and I don't know enough to tell you guys about it, except that it's happening. And then today, I got called from a principal in Arlington County, that's right outside of Washington, D.C., who shockingly has money left over, and she has to spend it by tomorrow, and she wants to buy 2 tower gardens. Who knew?
That's awesome.
That's a celebration.
I know.
Guys, I do have to give Vicki a big shout out, because here's the thing. She consistently is out there tirelessly talking to people about tower gardens, because she has a bigger mission. Like, she really wants to, help future generations and kids and all of this kind of stuff get and know the power of food and how they can grow it and how it works in their bodies, and how there's so many cool things that happen in the classroom with our tower gardens. And she's just on fire, you guys, like tirelessly out there working and sharing our mission with tower gardens. And I just thank you, Vicki, because you're such an inspiration, and you're making a huge difference.
It's finally happening. Yeah. Word is
so
out.
Cool.
Word is out. And they're saying, the schools are saying, well, how are you doing this? And now, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, the principals are just saying, we'll call Vicki, she'll make it happen. Well, I can't always make it happen, but this particular school has money left over. What school? The principal, I guess they must have some kind of discretionary fund that if they don't use it, they'll lose it. So if I hop off the call, it's because I'm expecting that principal to call me so we can do this tonight. Yeah.
That's awesome. Anybody else have a win they want to share?
I'll share a win. So I've been doing Teamsy. Obviously, I'm doing the boot camp. This is the 3rd week, started the 3rd week, and it's forcing me to reach out to people that I don't typically reach out to. Even some of I've had a couple stories this week where I'm reaching out to people that have canceled their orders. They just continue to show up on my customer list. So I'm like, I'm just going to trust in the process and just do what they say to do. And I reach out to them and say, hey, how are you? Hope you're having a great day. I was just thinking about you. And twice, 2 different people have said, oh my gosh, I was thinking about you too. I've actually been meaning to call you for like the last 2 months and restart my Juice Plus. We need that in our lives again. Like, you guys trust in the system, and sometimes you get scared, like, oh, that person canceled their order. Like, yeah, we should still continue the relationship with them and see what happens. And so both of them are super excited to get restarted again. And just, that's a huge win. So
absolutely, Mel. And that always reminds me, even where I'm at, that it's like, we get kind of defeated when people cancel or they continue to delay something. But Teamsy has taught me as well, just to check it off the list. Okay, if their name is on the list to reach out to, that doesn't even have to mean reach out to them about Juice Plus. It could just be reach out and share something inspirational with them that they were on your mind. And you know what I mean? You just wanted to say hi or tell them, you hope they had a great Mother's Day or whatever. And I always took it like, oh, I need to reach out to them about Juice Plus, but because it's a relational type of marketing, I think just keeping in mind that they're people and they want to be thought of as people is really powerful. And that's what happens. These people, they cannot help, like, this love that they feel from this community is really contagious, and they always come back for more, I feel like. So that's so cool. Anybody else have a win they want to share? All right, so let's get into the chapter. I don't know about you guys, but when I read the title of this particular chapter, I was kind of like, wah, wah, wah. Like, I don't know. It wasn't like a really exciting chapter to me. And maybe that's just because I haven't really ever lived in corporate America. And so that executive that whole group of people is a little more foreign to me. But I wanted to just open it up and hear what you guys have. What did you read? What stood out to you? What I want to preface this with is for a chapter that I wasn't really interested in, most of my pages look like this. Like, oh, you were like kind of bummed this was the last chapter, but I have so much highlighted in this, so I want to hear what you guys really thought.
Okay. Well, I would agree with Erica in that I'm like boring schmoring, right? So I think one of the things that we really have to remember is like, okay, if you think those things are boring or meetings, you know what I mean? Like having to do the meetings and the corporate thing and all that kind of stuff doesn't really interest you, probably doesn't interest somebody else either. So how can what we do be fun and interesting so that it's something that people are wanting to go to? So that was kind of one of my takeaways. The other one was, so much of what we do, I mean, this whole idea of, and I don't think people are doing this anymore. And honestly, I think this is why network marketing oftentimes gets a bad rap and a bad name, is because people are doing a bait and switch. Like you're like, hey, come over to my house for something, and an event, and we'll have fun. And really they get there and what they're learning about is your products and your company. That is absolutely not okay. I don't think that people are approaching it like that, but I do think that there is a piece of this that is that deception meeting or whatever they're calling it. And I am kind of like in the teamsy thing because I'm getting deeper into my conversations. It's not all about the quantity of conversations. It's really about the quality of where I go with my conversations and, see if it's a good fit for people to come and check something out if I'm having an opportunity meeting or an opportunity to learn about our products, that kind of thing. Asking people so that when they get there, they know what they're up, what we're going to be talking about. And I do think that what we have right now with Juice Plus and our amazing mission, it does allow us to have a really impactful educational experience, but also loaded with like, hey, this is fun and we're going to impact future generations with what we have with our awesome tower garden and our really cool products.
Yeah, I agree. I think because I've never really worked in corporate America, some of this information was really surprising to me. And I will be the first to admit, like, all of the executives are on my chicken list, all of them. I'm like, can't talk to that person. They're like so high above me. And I felt like the chapter really gave me, we have something that they don't get in corporate America. We have a flexible work environment. We have a flexible schedule. If we need to, today was a day I didn't get to touch my business very much. I mean, I still touched it, actually signed up a new distributor, but it was like, you know, I was at the salon today, and so I didn't have the time to do like my power hour and all that jazz. But like tomorrow is my day home, and I'll spend extra time. And so as I'm reading through this, it's like we have so much to offer executives, people in corporate America, that they don't have, you know, things that we should maybe be more encouraged to be sharing, the fun that is what we call work, and it doesn't feel like work to me. I think just I'm trying to find, I really liked a lot of the different information that they shared in this chapter, but you know, just a lot of these reminders I didn't feel like pertained even specifically to corporate America or executives. But you know, this business is all about timing, catching people at the right time in their lives when they're open to new areas of opportunity. Okay, and further on in that same kind of general area, 6 months can change everything. And like Mel was just mentioning, somebody reaching out to people who canceled, who are ready to come back. Okay, so people who maybe weren't ready for the business opportunity, but in 6 months, a lot of that could change. Did anybody else have some really great nuggets they want to share?
I would say that 10 years ago, when the downturn turned into, I had been working for a national multifamily developer, and so when all the financing crashed, that was a bad time, and so I was separated from a job that I loved, and so my particular boss and his company, they always give back to the community where they're either building multifamily apartments, or when the economy's right, they sell them as condos. And so I was on a super high because of the whole Air and Space Museum thing. And I was up in Northern Virginia, and I called him. He happened to be available. And I went in and I kind of pitched, knowing what you do when you go into a community, would you consider sponsoring a tower in a school system? But what I found in that 10 years is like, we were right on the cusp when insurance companies were saying, well, if your people will go to the gym, or they didn't say lose weight, but change some nutritional aspects in their life. That was kind of a real barrier to break through, because you had to be PC, and you couldn't it was seen as targeting any of those that were in the corporate office as negative, because you were singling them out. Maybe they were overweight, or for whatever reasons. Now that's acceptable. Now they are open to having you come in. I haven't done it, but they're open to people like us coming in and doing a lunch and learn or something. So that's maybe something that I have to pay a little more attention to. I've approached it from the Tower Garden aspect, because it's a pay the check, no obligation, get your name out. But I would say that there's a real opportunity in going into corporate offices, because the focus is on better health, better nutrition, do what you can do, and help the corporation lower their insurance costs, just because you're becoming accountable for making changes in your own health. I don't know if that's pertinent, but it sounds like it would be. I haven't explored it.
Yeah, and I've done a couple lunch and learns, and I love the idea of it, because I love the idea of inspiring a higher, maybe a higher thinking group of people. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like they might be more open, not that they always are, but to get to.
Now they are. They don't take it as a criticism or you're targeting someone, because right. I think wherever you are in your health journey, we're all trying to make some improvements that will help us individually, and corporations are getting behind that.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone else? Jenna, did you have any good nuggets?
Well, I was just going to say that, I think we've talked about this before in this book, but training is super pertinent. They talked about how it's hard to kind of kick some of those managerial habits and kind of learn something new when it comes to network marketing. I definitely something that I had to relearn, and it took me a long time to not try to manage people and just kind of let people do it on their own. I would often help people put in orders and they were trying to hit their HLP or 2000 plus. And I, quickly discovered that it's not going to help them take ownership. But, just kind of really having to relearn to sit down with them and kind of, map that out and just explain how easy it is if you just drop those habits and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I took away from the beginning. But yeah, kind of like what you were saying before. And I was going back to what we had a recent talk. And I forget who said it. I think it was Linda Evenden when they came from Australia to talk to us. And they said, no matter who you ask, the decision is already made up in their mind. It just depends on what's going on in their world. And so I think if you just mentioned, if you wait 6 months, it could be the change that they need. So now that nugget's planted in their head. You made that invitation. It's super flattering. And if it wasn't now, then it'll be later. So.
Yeah, I think I think it's an important practice to get into place if we're consistently, and that seems to be so great for this because it kind of instigates this to happen for you. But if you're using it and you're using it, consistently, I think you're fine. I think you get that, but just to follow up, I mean, the chapter really did talk about how that managing system is not really duplicatable. And I think how many times have we heard that? It's we need to duplicate. And so they talked about it. Product usage, prospecting, and recruiting are what lead to success. So nowhere in there does it talk about managing, babysitting. I can totally attest to what Jenna has said. I've had team members who, I'm talking to somebody and it happens to be their cousin. I'm like, oh, we'll just put that under you. Okay, maybe that's what you choose to do, but I'm looking and I'm thinking to myself now, is that distributor taking care of them the way I take care of my customers? Because my customer care level is 200%. It's where I put all my effort is into really great customer care. And so you know what I mean? Just giving people stuff or just really helping them excessively, I don't think that's duplicatable for most people. So I would agree with that. Anyone else have anything? Bobby, did you have anything you wanted to share from the chapter? Nope. Erica? Is Erica still with us? I see her, but I can't see her picture, and she's muted.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would kind of share is in what was, or at least what kind of came up when I read some of this stuff, especially about the meetings, and they were talking about hotel meetings or, which are fine every once in a while. But also, even if we're talking about something else a little bit more kind of in modern times, I guess. I mean, I don't know how many hotel meetings we're doing other than, every once in a while for a regional or something like that. But making sure that what we're doing is duplicatable. I think that that's really important, because if people are thinking, oh, I have to, get this or reserve this and, make it feel like this awesome party and all this kind of stuff, it can kind of stop people before they even start. They think, oh, well, gosh, I could never do that. Erica's great at that, but I could never do that, and even, gosh, if you're thinking about it in the modern world of when we're talking about this, what about social media too? What is duplicatable on, when we're sharing, and what is, how can we help and love people along on that way rather than feeling like, you're an expert on health and nutrition, and that's what you're putting out there into your community. And yeah, we all might be, and we're all on this journey of becoming more educated, but also you've got to remember that a lot of the people that are going to join our team and that are going to share with their friends and family may not already be this health expert. And so they look at us and they say, well, gosh, that's you, but I could never do that. You're so great at that, right? So how can we make even that? And I mean, I think that's a conversation that's worth having. I'm kind of just having those thoughts right now as we're just, sitting here talking. But I think that's a real thing and a real, concern. People may or may not see themselves in a certain light or a certain way when they're jumping on board with us. What do you think about that?
Well, they talked about a lot in the chapter, right here. A far-sighted networker will make room for all kinds of people in his or her organization. Wholesale buyers, retailing distributors, part-time organization builders, as well as people who pull out all the stops and take this opportunity to the moon. And so I think what we need to realize is we're going to run into everybody along the journey, right?
Yeah.
We're the people who are experts, and we need to be prepared to share something really relevant to them in whatever way that it's relevant. So I think really that comes down to that relational marketing, knowing the person in front of you and how to share information that's relevant to them, because a mom might not need the same, you know what I mean? When I talk to my mom friends, I'm like, I've never had a business that I could do with a baby on my hip, ever. I mean, never.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I've done that I can be holding a baby or holding somebody else's baby, because that happens a lot at events. I'm like the baby magnet. Who has a baby? I need to hold it. So I think that we need to recognize that, portraying ourselves, we definitely need to be authentic in who we are, especially on social media, but not being so excessive that people are like, I couldn't do that. I can't post 20 healthy living things every day on social media. That's not duplicatable for the average person. Maybe for somebody who's a full-time network marketer from home, maybe that looks different, but the average person doesn't even probably post that many times on social media. So I think that's a great point, Mel, and probably something that needs to even be talked about a little bit more. I feel like really dive into duplication. I mean, that's been kind of part of the team mantra since the beginning of the year. And I know for me, it's not something I'm great at doing, because I am totally the distributor who in her first year was having like literally a full spread on my table, and 3 people maybe showing up, and there's all this food. It's like, that is not duplicatable. So I have shifted to salad in a jar parties kind of exclusively, along with wine and wellness, and kind of like everybody brings a bottle to share, because otherwise I go a little bit overboard myself, and realizing I'm not teaching people how easy this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think it all actually, as we all start getting our feet wet, it just comes, for me anyway, and it took a while for me to get to this point, it just becomes you being authentic to who you are, and being able to say, whether you're new or you're old, I still say it. When I was at a presentation last week, some guy asked me a question I had absolutely no way to answer it. And I said, that's really great. That's never come up. But I finally felt comfortable to say, you know what? I don't have all the answers, but I have people who do, and I'd be happy to find that answer out for you. It took me a really long time to be comfortable accepting that I didn't know what I needed to know, but there were always people that I could go and get that. And what I found is that whoever we speak to, it's great when somebody gets nutrition or they get the mission and they just want to jump in. Most people don't even know what we're talking about. So we always, even when we only just have a tiny bit of information, we most often know more than the person we're speaking to. So I think if there were an easy way to get comfortable with that, we could rocket ship up. But that's an individual growth experience that happens within us as representatives, and it's been a huge journey for me, because Melanie, you know, I knew this much when I started, but having the confidence in your upline that they're going to get back to you, to me, it's just golden. It's just golden, and it's still golden.
I got a message today, met with a gal the end of last week and followed up with her today and just said, hey, you have a chance to chat with your husband about the information, and also just to process it, you know, even if you're giving them just little snippets, people sometimes absorb information in different time frames. And so she came back and she said, yeah, actually I had the info out on my table, and my sister was over and mentioned, she looked at the sample packets and just said, you know, something like, ooh, this has maltodextrin in it. Is that what it is? Yeah, which is a corn product, I believe. And she was like, oh, most corn products are GMO. And I said, well, all of our products are not, they're non-GMO. And she just was like asking, do I have some way to assure her of that? And I said, to be honest with you, I mean, I have nothing on hand. But I said, the great part is we can get a hold of corporate at any time. And they're so great about sending an email with the information that we're, you know, clarification on whatever. So I even love, we can even pull in how supportive, not just our uplines, but literally go to the very top. Corporate will email us back and answer about whatever question you have. And that just shows, like, I don't have to be an expert, but there's somebody and I know how to get to them, and it's pretty easy. I mean, it's easy enough for Erica, who's in Fremont, Michigan, to just email corporate and get an answer. And that's pretty cool. I feel like that's pretty cool. Anybody else before we close up? I'm Eastern time, so it's 9 o'clock. But
yeah, no, I would say thank you, Erica, for doing a great job of running the call and the conversation. I think it's awesome.
Yes,
So
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And I have no idea what they have planned for next week, Monday. So I was going to announce whatever that was going to be, just so people could get it down. But I'm sure it will be great, whatever it is. And
I think we're on to the next chapter. I think that's the plan. So next chapter, unloading the plug-in pistol.
Oh,
backwards?
Didn't we do that already? We did it.
Wait, am I not on the right
Yeah, this was the last
chapter?
one.
This is it.
This was the
Last one.
I was totally on the wrong. Sharing information from the very last chapter.
Here's my question. Did we actually do the pistol one? Because I thought that.
Yeah, we did. We did.
We did do that.
we're done.
We did it.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, never mind me. We're doing something else.